Sir, you can start now.
Yes, sir. Shall we start, sir?
Yes, sir, you can start.
Yes, sir. Shri Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya Ausa running a webinar series 2. For the series today, the keynote speaker is available with us. Her name is Dr. LUBNA SURAIYA. So first of all, I heartily welcome to the today's keynote speakers. I am the chief organizer of the series, Honorable Principal Dr. M.M. Bedkar. I am also very thankful to you, welcome to you, and all the participants also very good evening to you, and all are welcome here. So today's topic going to present by today's keynote speaker, that is life of a transgender. Now I will introduce today's speaker. Today's speaker, Dr. LUBNA SURAIYA, going to present a topic that is life of a transgender. Madam is well educated, highly educated. Ma'am have completed M.Com as well as Doctor of Information Technology, that is a degree course. She also completed MBA, MPhil, that post-graduation diploma in education, and doctor in literatures. Ma'am have also completed a PhD. Not only she well qualified, but she is more active in other activities. Ma'am is known to be India's first trans entrepreneur research scholar. Ma'am is a good author. She is a motivational come third gender awareness speaker, as well as YouTuber, public blood donors, gender social reformist, and works always as a volunteer, and she has been awarded with many awards and multi-award winners. So I am welcome to you, madam, for the series, and start your presentation on today's topic, that life of a transgender. Thank you, madam. You are most welcome.
Thank you, Prashant sir, for a very good introductory section. And thank you, Professor Bedkar sir, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Without wasting much of time, I think we can start. So, all praise be to the Almighty. Namaskar, Adab, Sasrikal, Vanakkam, Assalamu Alaikum, and good evening to all the ladies and gentlemen for this World Record Series 2, organized by Shri Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya College, Ausa, and myself, Dr. LUBNA SURAIYA, Assistant Professor in Commerce from Shri Vidya Mandir Arts and Science College, Uthangarai from Tamil Nadu. Before I begin with the topic, let me just give you a small quote where it is actually given by Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi, where she clearly says, I was a normal child, but it was the world that actually made me feel so very different. And that's really true in every case of a transgender, because when a transgender child is born or when a child is being notified, our society looks in a very different way, in a very awkward way, and people think that they are very much socially be excluded. And that's what every person thinks about of a transgender, as every public has a wrong notion about them. But in general, if we really ask for, or in general, if we really deep probe into the matter of a transgender, that would be like three definitions are very much important to understand what a transgender is. First of all, the transgender itself. Sir, I hope my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes.
Yes, madam, we are getting. No problem.
Yes. So the first thing is about a transgender. Now, basically, a transgender is a person who is born with a male body but having a feelings of a feminine or femininity. That is what it actually means to be like. And most people think that a transgender is something where people are very fake, but that's not the real case. It's actually a case where it's biologically deformed by nature. That's one definition that we have to understand about a transgender. Now, second thing is about a transgender is talking about gender identity. Now, gender identity is so much that when you consider what your feelings are within your own perception, how the way you think, how the way a person react to. Maybe he's born as a male, but later on when he grows to the age of 12 or 13 or 14, as the child matures, maybe he thinks that he wants to be feminine. So it is the biological, the mental, psychological, inner feeling of a child to represent what identity of a gender he belongs to. That is what is called as gender identity. And the third definition, most important, is about SRS, which means the sex reassignment surgery. These are the medical practicing terms where they try to transform their entire body as a male or as a female. So these three definitions are must before we go on to the introduction part. Now, moving on with introduction, civilized society has given a lot of names for differently labeled, or maybe as a handicapped, or maybe for commercial sex worker as prostitute. But what is wrong with a transgender person? Have you ever thought of it? Or have ever any person thought, why are transgender literally being called by any derogatory names like, they call them as Chakka, Mama, Mamu, like, all this Us, Bedi, Ali, in different languages and regionally. But they are also grabbed with sexual potency a lot because they have the grossy parody of womanhood. They wander in crowds, terrorize the pedestrians with their crossway trademark claps with gruff male voices, and people fear that they may persistently... Hope I'm clear now.
No, madam.
I will share the screen for you. Continue.
Yes, madam, please.
Okay. Now, here it's like they come with the gruff male voices, or they make people even fear about how ostensible exposition of their physical manifestations could be, or they may behave even vulnerable among the public, flashing their private parts. This is what all the notion about the transgender really prevails in public or among the people. But if you literally start thinking about them, they are a very small group in entire population of the globe, and they are living at the high danger risk. Now it's like we tag them as commercial sex workers, or maybe they have a lot of fear of their personal life. Their entire life starts with a basic risk of life, and that literally every educated or every literate or illiterate person fails to understand. Now they are coming up more in count, demanding for economic equality, or maybe they are seen more in numbers. So it's all like it's a right of a citizen where I feel that they should be understood entirely by society, or they should be entirely be known how they are supposed to live like. Now, moving on with the historical evidences of a transgender. As of a transgender, what we can see is the main history, it doesn't start just like, it's from the overnight all over the ground. It's not that case. It's like since from 1650 to 16,000 BC, there was a female pharaoh of Egypt who ruled the entire Kemet as her reign, and her name was Hatshepsut. Now this Hatshepsut, she was a female pharaoh, but she recognized and demised herself as she disguised herself as a male pharaoh, so that she can rule the entire country. So this literally history starts from 16th century onwards. And later on, there's another person called Elagabas, who was a Roman empire, and he was the youngest Roman empire of the entire history at the age of 14, and he belonged to Severan dynasty. Now, when we talk about this person, there is another holy book called Cassidius Dio, in which he calls himself as a transgender because he wanted to always equip a female genitalia, and he always wanted to be called not as a prince but rather as a princess or as a mistress or as a queen of Hercules. And Hercules was a man who was a chariot driver for the entire prince of Elagabas. This is all about the Elagabas story, which comes under again in 16th century. So there is an evidence or historical footprints which shows that this Hatshepsut and Elagabas prevailed in long centuries ago. Now, since I come from Tamil Nadu, and there's a Tamil literature, Asian literature called Tolkappiyam, which talks about the transgender as living beings. There's another ancient literature called Silappatikaram, which talks about the dance of a transgender. It represents the dance sequence of a transgender, so called as Nagli. And Manimegalai is another ancient scripture which talks about the beauty of a transgender, how they are portrayed, how they are changing themselves into a transgender. Tiruvasagam is another combination which talks about both the characteristics of male and female for a transgender person to survive. And finally, the least and not the last in the least, the Tirukural, which describes very clearly as the word Bedi. Now, the Bedi literally perfectly matches with the transgender concept of today. And if you talk about the 19th, centuries and all, right from that time being. Now, in 1965, it was John F. Oliven who devised the term transgender. In 1976, all the educational institutions, they have abbreviated this transgender as a term TG, and today we call this as third gender. It's the same meaning. In 1985, again, Richard Elkins, he was a person who was a professor from University of Ulster who combined or who established the transgender archive in the university nomination board. And in 1992, this term became entirely as popularly as umbrella term at the International Conference of Transgender Law and Employment Policy, because it's not only about the transgender, it talks about the third gender, it talks about the drag kings, drag queens, it talks about the female to male, male to female, and every aspect of the entire lesbian, the gay, the homosexual, the bisexual. So all these genders are compromised together in this concept. Now, when we talk about the scientific birth of a transgender, the scientific birth of a transgender, I have given you a small chart which is quite understandable. Actually, it's like we all know that the X chromosome comes from always from the mother, and we may have a combination of X and Y chromosome from a father. But what happens in a transgender case is when both the XX comes, it becomes a female child, and when one X comes from mother and another comes from a father as Y, it becomes the male child. But in case of a transgender, what happens is you receive the X chromosome from the mother, and instead of receiving Y chromosome from the father, you're receiving the same X chromosome, but there is always an SRY gene very minutely attached at the notch of the Y chromosome from the father. Now, this SRY gene is wrongly, or it's been misinterpretedly, it's been translocated in the X chromosome of a father. And that is why the transgender, they always have the feeling of a feminine, because it's an XX combination of a female body. Whereas since the SRY gene gets segregated, the reason for the segregation is it's been transformed, or it's been like translocated from the father's sperm. So this SRY gene acts as a non-functional or reproductive male genital organ where they are wrongly born into a wrong body, and both of them are actually inactive. That is why they have a very mind deep feeling of a female, and they consider themselves as a female, but they are born privately or with a male wrong organ. So this is a small scientific birth about a transgender. Now, moving on with the next slide. It's about religious sagas. Now, religious sagas, of course, transgenders have been mentioned in all religions, either it be Hindu mythology or Islamic lore or Christian divinity. I have given all the three examples. Now, I do not know how many, because every scripture differs from regional context. Now, in that case, if you literally ask me, in such a case, in religion of Hindu, it is mentioned that the legend of Ramayana, it's mentioned that the Lord Rama, when he he was exiled from Ayodhya. All the residents of the Ayodhya, they had been accompanying him during his vanvas. And what happened was he requested all the female and all the male to move out of their area. But after 14 years when he turned up, he was very much astonished. Lord Rama was very much astonished to see that the transgender were waiting for him. When he raised a question, why have you not left? And all these years you have been waiting for me in this hot sun, in this cold weather, in this autumn, all kind of seasons you have been bearing it off. They replied, you have projected to go for female. You have told them to go for a male, but you have never told us to go. And we are a combination of both manhood and a womanhood. How are we supposed to go for? And this repented him to make him sure that he was forgotten about the transgender people. And that is why we see that whenever a transgender blesses on a wedding day or wedding ceremony or for a good occasion, we believe that their words really come true and they are a blessing as a boon for us. This is the reason that the faith what they had in Lord Rama was a boon of sanctification for every prosperous occasion. That is why transgender, whenever they bless or whenever they even curse, it becomes the rightly correct way. This is one evidence from Ramayana where I have taken. Another epic of Mahabharata which really says that for the victory of Pandavas, Arvan was actually forfeited to the goddess Kali, and Lord Krishna married married Arvan, knowing that Arvan is going to be dead by the night because he has to be forfeited. And as well, no girl would come forward to wed a man who is going to die for a night because for the Pandavas' victory. And in that case, Lord Krishna, he have took the Mohini avatar, making sure that he was a feminine, and he lived really a life of both masculine as well as of a feminine. And just because the entire avatar of Mohini was a femininehood, keeping this concept, even in Tamil Nadu, I think 3 days back, we had Chitra Paurnami, which is a very gala time for all the transgender all over the world to come and assemble here, because this is called as the Kuthandavar festival. And this Kuthandavar festival is what they really worship as God Aravan. And this God of Aravan, where they try to tie the marriage knots, they even become the widowhoods. And finally, after 41 days of their entire ceremony goes on, lot of beauty pageants, lot of contests takes place to exhibit their talents. And this is the recent trend going on for the past 10 to 12 years. That is why even there's another context where you have Shivan and Parvati, where we call the transgenders as Arthanarishwar. So this Arthanarishwar concept actually comes from both Lord Shivan and from Parvati, also from Mahabharatam and also from Ramayana. So we have the Hindu myth. Now, in talking about the Islamic lore, we come across the hadith called Sahih Muslim, where the Prophet, peace be upon him, have commented that Muhammad is actually an effeminate man, and he have confessed that the fake people should not be gathered into womanhood, whereas the real biological transgender should be respected, should be taken into women gathering, and should be responded well. The same thing is presented in 8th century scholar by Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri, where he says that prayers can also be offered at the back side of the transgender. It's not that we can only offer behind the men, but also behind the transgender. And during the Mughal Empire, these people were called as Khwaja Sira. So they were at the high regime where people really believed that they were of the royal emperor codes or the protectors of the codes. They were the good teachers. They were the good blessed people who were able to be a treasurer for the entire kingdom. Now, in Christian divinity, in the biblical concept in Holy Bible, I can give you a few citations where Leviticus chapter 21:20, Isaiah 39:5-7, Kings 11-20, and Acts 8-27 speak a lot about transgender person. Now, another concept is about, many people would think, have really transgenders been invented something or not? So there's a dilemma where many people do ask me a question, but the real fact is that I do not know how many of you know the paper that they're using today is from China, and all of us knows the fact. But it was a Chinese eunuch meaning the hijra or a transgender. He was a person by name Kai Lun who came up with the paper culture, who came up with the paper making process, and he was definitely 100% a transgender. And today, There is an entire Kowloon Paper Culture Museum in China in his own name running, and also Kowloon Association entitled after his name. This is one thing which is the biggest invention of a transgender. Now, the second invention is about Zheng He Ma, or otherwise called as Mahi. He was a voyager, he was a seafarer, he was a Muslim Chinese eunuch again from the Admiral of Yonglan Court. And now the main specialty is, we all know that, the Portuguese, when they came to India to discover the entire America, they came and landed in Calicut. But before the Portuguese entered, Vasco da Gama came. This person, Zheng He Ma, was the first person who came across Indian Ocean, and he invaded actually Calicut, today called as Malabar. And finally, he made 7 of his expeditions from from 14th century to 1405. All the 7 expeditions that he have made. At the 7th expedition, he was buried in Malabar coast itself. So this is another invention of the route for Indian Ocean to come to Calicut before the Portuguese arrived, was from Zheng Mahi. Now, another concept attached with the transgender is about the Criminal Tribal Act of 1871. Now, this is purely an act of Britishers who came up with a very horrible law, very mad-suffering law, which made the entire routine of the common people so go deadly that they never wanted to live a normal life. And now this law was actually very much supposed to be proposed on 12th October of 1871. The main concept of this Criminal Tribal Act, or CTA Act, was that they in a sense, the British administrators wanted to classify Indians into different groups of classes in the name of caste, creed, color, religion, So they mainly targeted the Vimukta Jati, so-called as denotified tribes of today. And they were supposed to be called as the non-bailable offense people. So during those century of 14th to 19th century, what happened was there were a lot of professional gang of thieves who were revolving in India from the medieval period of India. And now this act was first implemented in North India. The place was actually not known, but later on, the same was extended in the year 1876 to West Bengal, and later on in 1911 to the provinces of Madras. So this is how actually the CTA came into existence throughout the Indian Revolution through Britishers. And now the amendment of 6th Act of CTA, which was actually amended on 1924, this became very popular all over the Britishers because they have completely destroyed the unity of India. And the most significant part was that the transgender community was highly affected because they wanted transgender to use them only for sexual parody. They wanted to use them as sexual object, and they wanted to even effeminate, or they want to even make them purposefully as a eunuch. So this was the main target where the Britishers, they forcefully brought this act as CTA in the year 1871. And the life of the transgender was so horrible that they were not allowed to go to public. They were not allowed to move on. They were not able to dress up freely. They were not even able to eat. They were reported for every activity of the daily life. Right from the morning to evening schedule, they were supposed to do hazari in every local police station at a specified time. And they could be simply just arrested for any other reasons, just like that. For no crime, for no petty crimes, for no reason, they could be just simply be उनको पकड़ सकते थे. तो ऐसा था वो, without any warrant. So this was like another point where they could not even reveal that they were transgender. तो हमारे मन में ये होता है कि आजकल के लोग, today people are coming so much budding as transgender कि वो हिजरा है, वो नो है, या मतलब ये कोई transgender है. तो आज इतने हैं, तो उस जमाने में क्यों नहीं थे? उस जमाने में थे, they were people. But because of this act, people did not reveal that they were transgender, because once they revealed, their life was complete to an end. तो ये डर मार के ये क्या करते थे कि अपनी जो identity थी वो उसको छुपाते रहते थे. So this was one reason. And after India got independence, the same CTA was actually in the year 1955 was changed into Habitual Offenders Act, what is actually existing today as well. And now this HOA, which is called as Habitual Offenders Act, came into existence, and this was actually given highlighted in an article by Ram Narayan Rawat, who's a history professor, who is specialized also in exclusion, social exclusion. He talked about this concept where he mentions that Gujar, Harini, Lodi, all these people, Chamars, the sannyasis, and all the hilly tribe people, including the untouchables, including the transgenders, were also very much harassed in this CTA Act. And later on, in 18th century, the British was completely collapsed the social status of a transgender, and they branded them as, completely as a sex worker. जो कि आज की जो हालत है, what you see today a transgender as, and from the Mughal period where they were very high into loyal and royal codes, and now they are into street vendors and begging out into a flesh trade. This is all because of this act. Now, connecting the same point with CTA, there is another section called Section 377 of Indian Penal Code, IPC की धारा में. तो ये क्या है? This is a chapter of IPC which comes under this, and it is actually drafted by Thomas Macaulay in the year 1838. Now, actually, it came into power in the year 1862, but this section 377 का जो model है, it was only on the basis of the British Sodomy Law Burglary Act. वो बेस करके ही ये लॉ बनाया गया था, लेकिन वैसे तो कुछ खास करके हमारे पास लॉ नहीं था, बट कीपिंग दैट मॉडल दे केम अप विद सीटीए कॉन्सेप्ट एंड दे आल्सो केम अप विद सेक्शन 377. अब सेक्शन 377 में बात क्या है, दैट people were able to reflect their own identity. They were able to come up with their own gender identity. They can reveal themselves. They can choose their own partners. Maybe it may be a lesbian, it may be a gay, it may be bisexual, it may be a transgender. तो LGBT की जो community है वो यहाँ से belong करती है. तो it started the roots with section 377 when people came up with the concept of delivering that it was I can choose my own gender. But this section completely was ruined, completely was tapped under the reign of the King Henry VIII. So what they mentioned was people could not do any kind of sexual activity, they could not do any physical activity, they could not have a right to choose any of their choices. So British forced the transgenders, and they wanted to completely diplomatically, they wanted to erase the transgender community. ऐसा कोई community था ही नहीं. They want to make that kind. So this legal battle was fought in the year for section 377 in the year 1994, and it was given by AIDS Bedbhav Virodhi Andolan. They filed the case, but unfortunately they could not follow the petition. तो हमारे इंडिया में ये होता है कि हमेशा हम कुछ ना कुछ करते हैं, लेकिन हम वो काम भूल जाते हैं. तो they filed the case very strongly, but they did not actually follow it up. Later on, in the year 2001, there is another foundation called NAS Foundation, which strongly gave voice for the LGBT community, because जब तक we had lesbians, we had gay, we had bisexual, we had transgenders, we had third gender. So we have every kind of community, and already it was given by John F. Olivan, who gave the term transgender as an umbrella term. So now this is turning into an umbrella term now, and it was moved to Supreme Court in the year 2006. अब उसके बाद क्या हुआ? Shashi Tharoor, who is a member of the parliament of the private members bill, in the parliament he passed a bill for transgenders to decriminalize this homosexuality act, because he felt that every person have a right to choose their own choices. Every person, being India, being a democratic country, they have a right to choose their practice their religion, practice their gender, practice their fashion, and all their preferences. So in 2015, Shashi Tharoor, he strongly recommended for decriminalizing the homosexuality act. But again, in 2017, it took so much of years, 2 years, a couple of years later, Supreme Court then declared that a person have a right to choose their privacy. Privacy बताया गया था, लेकिन they have not declared or they have not decriminalized homosexuality. Only in the year 2018 that the NALSA judgment came up with the verdict that the third genders are no more to be abused in public. They should be no more violated. They should not be socially excluded. वो भी हमारे साथ जम के रहना है. They should be included in part of a society. So the Supreme Court judgment of NALSA gave the verdict, strong verdict, that transgenders are to be referred as third gender, as a category. It was only then that this Section 377 was decriminalized, and today India, among 217 countries, is one of the decriminalized homosexuality country to be proudly known as. But of course, there are many philanthropists who says that this is against our culture, this is against our, our society and all our norms. But as of a gender is concerned, as of a gender priority is concerned, there's nothing wrong to be moving on with. Now, the next slide is about the medical surgeries, what transgender undertake. Many people ask me what, usually they go to a doctor, they reform their body, and that's it. It's all been done in a month's time, spending lakhs of rupees. But actually, there are main 5 specifications of surgery which every transgender actually go. One is about the vaginoplasty. It's all about how you are going to create a new vagina, including your clitoris, your labia, your majora, and all as a woman should have. Second thing is about your breast augmentation. Otherwise, the surgery is called as mammoplasty. It's all about to increase your breast because he's born as a male, so definitely he needs to induce himself with high dosage, and that results in high breast augmentation. Third one is about your facial feminization surgery, where male may have his beard or mustache or thick eyebrows or rough, the cheeks, or maybe he may have a very rough lips or very rough tone. So every kind of hair transplantation, every kind of your facial is done in a way. It takes months and months and years of practice to make your face look like a feminine, entirely like a feminine. तो हम बोलते हैं ना कि ये हिजड़ा नहीं है, मतलब ये बिल्कुल औरत जैसी है. So to make that surgery to look more like a feminine, this facial feminization surgery takes place. And next one is about your archectomy. Archectomy surgery is about your removing either one testicle or either sometimes both of the testicles for a male. And finally, the voice feminization. It requires a lot of practice. How good volume you speak, in what pitch you speak, in how loud manner you speak, and how softly you speak, how people recognize you as a female voice. So that is more about your surgery. So these are the main 5 surgeries where the transgender gets involved into. And next one about the inhibitions confronted by a transgender. Now, people may think they are of good health, they have good hands, they have good brains. People are very lazy that they don't even, work for. कुछ काम की तो है नहीं, बस भीख मांगने आ जाते हैं. अच्छे हाथ पांव पैर हैं भगवान देने का, लेकिन कुछ काम के नहीं. So people think that way. But if you really start analyzing from the ground, from the scratch, the first problem is the family itself. I would say it's a family itself, because every parent, when before they could understand who they are, उनको खुद पता नहीं होता कि वो हिजड़ा बनने वाले हैं या उनके biological कोई changes हो रहे हैं. But before they understand, people start gossiping कि हाँ उनके घर में पता नहीं कैसा लड़का है, वो लड़की की तरह बिहेव कर रहा है, पता नहीं कैसे माँ बाप है ये. So people start gossiping, people start, completely they make so nuisance that parents tend to be so domestic violated at home for a small kid of an age of 12 or 13 when they don't recognize themselves who they are. So ये पहली पहचान जब उनकी ही नहीं बनती, खुद की ही नहीं बनती, तो वो अपने को ही नहीं पहचान नहीं पाते. तो ये होता क्या है कि पेरेंट्स दूसरों की बात लेके समझते हैं कि हाँ मेरा बेटा की बिहेवियर सही नहीं है. So they are being completely ignored. जब इग्नोर किया जाता है फैमिली में, ऑटोमेटिकली जब स्कूल जाते हैं तो ऑफ कोर्स every co-student, every co-lecturer or professor or teacher or principal, they never support them. So they are being harassed in schools as well. So problem कहाँ से शुरू होती है? At home. अब मिसाल पे देखिए, for example, if a student is being beaten, or if a student is being highly beaten by a boy or a girl, but any parent leave his child, they would immediately go and ask for why did you beat my child? What is the purpose of beating my child? How dare you could raise your hand to my child? इतना जब पूछते हैं, but why not for a transgender child? When they realize that the child itself is not normal. So this is like lack in awareness for a parent. So the first parent counseling should be started from home. Parents should be made aware that it's not only a male or a female, but there's another set of gender called transgender, which may be a transgender male or transgender women could also be prevailing. So education में वहाँ पे मार खा जाता है, and then what happens is they start wandering in streets. The next slide. They start wandering in streets, they become, paupers, they go for beggary, and then they go for, living in slums, because they don't know where to go. Neither their friends are supporting, teachers are supporting, school is supporting, parents are supporting, neighbor is supporting, siblings are supporting. They are not able to support by their own self. So they have no other option that they start searching for the same kind of gender whom they try to meet. And when they feel that, मैं इनको देखता हूँ, तो I feel they are like me, they have dressed like me, me and I wanted this. This is what I am. This is where I feel the liberty to go. So they immediately they try to join with the trans community. This is how every child starts moving and joining as a group. जो छोटे छोटे ग्रुप बनते हैं वो उसके बाद बड़े ग्रुप बन जाते हैं and they finally enter into a trans community. And when once they enter into a trans community, उनको पता नहीं होता कि उनकी systems क्या हैं. They don't realize what systems they are following. They don't know their rituals, how they need to go for a surgery, or how they need to go for how to behave, how to talk, how to be, who is called chela, who is called guru. Guru is someone who is so top at the highmost position of the hierarchy of the home, and chela is someone who is an adopted daughter of the guru. And उनके जो होते हैं चेला, they are called as sub chelas. तो ऐसे उनकी परंपरा आती है without a relationship that someone gets into the bond, someone gets into a family of a transgender as a family itself, and then now they start realizing कि हाँ, these are my own people. This is where the real place I need to land on. And now I need to be a completely female. I dress up like a female. I put lipstick, I put mascara, I wear sari, I wear jewelry. But now a time comes where I need to understand that I need to survive. तो survival के लिए क्या करें? मेरे पास पढ़ाई नहीं है, मेरे पास जॉब नहीं है, हम जॉब को जाते हैं कोई जॉब देता नहीं है, एम्प्लॉयमेंट नहीं है, पढ़े लिखे भी नहीं है. तो now they start for begging. और people sometimes जब उनके पास पैसे कम होते हैं तो for survival or only for survivalhood तो they go for flesh trade और openly they say we are a prostitute. तो इसमें गलती क्या है? कुछ और लोग भी तो करते हैं तो हम खुद कर लेते हैं. This is how they define themselves as. So they move on to the flesh trade forcefully, not by choice, not by will, but out of their survival. अपने पेट पालने के लिए ये करते हैं. And उसके बाद जब ये हो जाता है, next one is about your surgery. तो अब करें क्या? I want to be a female. बस मैंने इतना कमा लिया है, मुझे कमाई आ रही है, but I want to look like a female. इसलिए तो मैं घर छोड़ के आई हूँ. So now to bring the money to get money to get more income as my survival for my surgery, I go for the first diagram is about a female to male, जो कि एक लड़का लड़की बनता है. Second diagram is about जब एक लड़का लड़की लड़का बनता है. So this is called as FTM, female to male. MTF is called as male to female. When they are more with the clients with prostitution, obviously they are not having any safe protection, so they are more prone to HIV. And उसके लिए they are taking more of drugs, they take more of alcohol, they become more predicted to their injections or drug usage. Surgery के ऊपर उनके उससे क्या होता है कि again they try to take more high dosage for surgery to look more feminine, to look more to look like a woman, because उनकी पूरी जिंदगी जो है they want to spend the entire life as a woman. They have, because if you ask me as a child, I would say I want to be a doctor. If I ask Bedkar sir, he may say I want to be a professor. But if you ask a transgender child, they will definitely say I don't want to be IAS, I don't want to be a professor, मुझे बनना है एक औरत, I want to be a woman. That's the entire dream of my entire life is. So you don't have money to earn, you don't, जब घर जाते हैं you go for a rent, people charges high rental charges than an ordinary people. You're not employed, you're looking for a job, there's no need for you to give any job. And most importantly, कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं कि people tend to get married. हाँ, you come, I'll marry you, I'll be a life partner for you, and I'll be with you, साथ साथ, sadam bhar I'll be with you. But then that doesn't really last because society does not have any knowledge about a transgender, and the boy's family completely ignores them. कि हाँ, you're bringing a transgender for a home, and she can't even give you a baby. She can't. You may not have your entire level of your hierarchy. आपकी परंपरा ही नहीं रहेगी. कैसे लोग हो तुम? तो people when start gossiping, people when they have the wrong illusions about a transgender, it's very hard. So they are pushed for suicidal attempts. तो ये तो depression है already कि they are taking more of drugs, they are taking more of alcohol, they are taking more of cigars, they are taking more of high dosages of your tablets or injections. ऊपर से when you have this pressure, they are more prone to suicidal intentions. And सबसे बड़ी बात ये है कि much more over, you don't know how to refer them as either as a Mr. or Mrs. और मैं आपको Miss बुलाऊं या आपको मैं बुलाऊं ही नहीं. So this is another case where you don't know how to pronounce them as. That is why we don't have a proper policy or a law for a transgender. The Ministry of Law and Justice have never given a space for a transgender. I would really openly say this. Now they are coming because they themselves have not much knowledge about the transgender group. So now these policies, looking at every state, looking at every people, now they are bringing reforms. But otherwise, actually, it was not existing. So the next slide is about the inclusion scheme available for transgender. Next slide, sir. So it's like I have not given schemes available for transgender. I have given inclusive schemes. यानी कि जो औरतों पे whatever is applicable for women, the same is applicable for transgender. Now, I personally have this question very much a lot of times that when they are considered as a transgender, आजकल तो we have columns male, female, and transgender, but we tick them as transgender. But why there is no such special schemes or special available policies, special welfare boards for a transgender? You have for a handicap, you have for a lunatic person, you have for an MR person, you have for a drunken person, rehabilitation centers, but why not for a transgender? So this is like all is being included as women. Then what is the point when NALSA have came up in 2018, itni badi judgment ke baad, when they recognize legally as a transgender, there is no point that if the schemes are not provided. So all the schemes what I have given is applicable mostly for women, which also includes transgender. It is not specifically for a transgender. So the first scheme is about the umbrella scheme, which came up in COVID-19 because they gave the 1,500 rupees for pet transgender for their livelihood. Second is about the SMILE scheme. SMILE also have another comprehension sub-scheme called as Comprehensive Rehabilitation for Welfare for Transgender Person, which concentrates more on medical interventions, counseling for parents, education institutions. You may have your scholarships or you may have skill development training programs, and all your economic development will be done. But actually, practically speaking, the scheme came up but never actually implemented very effectively. Third one is about the Garima Grah scheme. Now, this is actually at a very good move where 25 people can be accommodated at one home. So under Section 8, Subsection 4 and under Section 12, Subsection 3 of a Transgender Act 2019, this scheme came up because many transgenders who are left homeless or shelterless after being beaten up by home and they run away or they chase away from home. They don't know where to go. So they are getting into this Garima Grah scheme. There's only a model scheme which has been implemented just last year. And the first scheme came up in Gujarat, now second at Tamil Nadu, third at Kolkata. So three are functioning well. It is said that our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji will again extend the scheme if it really works out well. So this is a very good, encouraging and happily acceptable model. And fourth one is about your Pradhan Mantri Jan Yojana scheme for Ayushman, which talks always about the medical intervention, and 5 lakh rupees will be given as insurance for a transgender in case of a surgery when they are going for a state or central level sponsored funds. This is only applicable for those transgender who have not taken any benefits. So far, मैंने कुछ benefits avail किया ही नहीं है. In that case, you can be eligible to receive 5 lakh rupees for your insurance coverage. And PM Daksh is another scheme which also includes women, for women entrepreneurs. But now for a transgender entrepreneurs, those who are having 80% above attendance will be given a stipend of rupees 1,000 to 1,500. And above all that, you will be also having your vocational training programs, short-term training, long-term training, reskilling, entrepreneur development programs, handicrafts, movements, corporations. So ऐसे जो मतलब skill development programs है, उसके लिए ये sponsors stipend दिया गया है. And the last one is about the national portal for transgender person. Now, this is where when people don't have to go to offices or people don't have to really run into the physical form to declare themselves that ki haan main transgender hu, you can easily apply through online as a part of digital certificate. That will be more or less will be done very easily without notifying in the Gazette that you are transformed into a trans woman or a trans man. And this is usually done by a district magistrate. The next slide is about the global centers and state level institutions. Now, I have given a few classifications from all over the world, which are very famously found for LGBT community, especially working for transgender. At the global level, we have mainly 5 communities of 5 institutions which really work. One is World Professional Association for Transgender Health. Second one is Akion. Third one is Tricone. Tricone is very proud that this is actually in Africa as well as in Australia, but the main founder is from India, from Uttar Pradesh. So this is a very great institution globally that is revolving for a transgender. The next one is about Jim Collins Foundation, the Arcus Foundation, and Start Out. So these are the global level institutions supporting primarily for a transgender. Now, at the central level of India, we have Avahan India AIDS Initiative and National Council for Transgender Persons are the two main centers which primarily focuses on transgender. Also, they support additionally, the LGBT community. There are many forums, there are many conferences, there are many institutions, NGOs working for, but the prime are these are the prime centers. At the state level, I have given the most common state level factors. As I come from Tamil Nadu, we have so many CBO. CBO alag hota hai, NGO is different. Now, CBO are the community-based organization which are actually started or run or established and financed and completely controlled by a transgender itself. Now, there is one great CBO called Sahodri Foundation, which is run by Kalki Subramaniam. Another one is by Orinam, Shri, Madurai, Born to Win, Chennai Dost, Chennai, Tamil Nadu Rainbow Coalitions, and Nirangal are all the CBOs which actively and currently supports the trans community, and they are very much into a very good social cause. And second one is Wajood, Suraksha, Sathi, Firefly Community, Mubera Foundations, Telangana Hijra Intersex Transgender Samiti, Cure Campus of Hyderabad, and Hyderabad Drag Club. All these comes under Telangana state. Now, Sangama is the only institution which is very quite famous in Karnataka, and as well as Safco for Equality is from West Bengal, and Sahayatrika is one from Kerala. So these are the basic institutions which are revolving under state level. And Tamil Nadu was the first state to come up with a welfare board for a transgender and to form a transgender welfare board under the former Chief Minister, Dr. M. Karnanidhi. And today we call transgender not just as like Chakka or Mamu, or we call in Tamil as Ali or Bedi, we call them as Tirunangai. Now, Tiru literally means Mr. and Nangai means actually it's women. So it's like Mr. Women, which means that Mr. Innocent, it's otherwise called as respectful women. So this Tirunangai as a term is to be called by every transgender in Tamil Nadu, and that is a rule of Tamil Nadu to be called them and to pronounce them and to be referred them as, not by any derogatory or not by any obituary or not by any kind of hurting their feelings or just telling them with their bad language. It shouldn't be done, and if it is done, it's highly being punishable for 2 years under jail. So this is all about a transgender. Now, I have presented few personal pictures of mine, where I have done a research of a transgender entrepreneurs. So during my research section, this was my milestone. The first one is about the Princey, who is a transgender herself, and she is today a community-based organization who works for Orinam. And the second one is about the entire transgender group of people who were actually transforming themselves. They were not transgenders, but transgenders ke pehle ek stage hota hai. They are called as, there are different stages before you reach a transgender. So they are those people who are the pre-stage of a transgender. And next one is about, she is a transgender from Madurai. The third slide, who is running a transgender Madurai trans kitchen, and she's a kitchen owner of the entire premises, which is located under Rajaji Government Hospital in Madurai, and she is offering food for the poor free of cost for the street vendors, and also for the people who are born newly baby born ke liye hot water ki facility hai ya milk ki facility hai. She's offering free for that. Side by side, she's also commercially earning as from the kitchen side. And the fourth slide is about the transgender Shweta. She's my good friend, I would say. She is the first transgender from the Coimbatore Mavatta Tirunangai Nala Sangam, the Coimbatore Transgender Welfare Board Association, who has got the driving license, and she is doing a lot of driving, especially auto driving, heavy driving, and four-wheeler driving personally for her traveling expenses or for any other expenses. So this is the last photo where I have given transgender multi-speciality clinic, which is usually open only on Tuesdays. So I was very fortunate that I was able to go on Tuesday and visit the entire inside premises. The next slide is about the examination room, where male to female or female to male, the transmission, the examination takes place. So I was fortunate enough to even meet with the endocrinologist with the gynecologists, with all these physicians, to meet them, to understand what doctors are facing a problem. And the next slide is about the transgender Shri Devi. She's from Salem, who is in green sari. She's a woman who have stood in politics opposing Jayalalitha, the former chief minister, late chief minister, but she actually failed in her politics in career. Again, she's continuing with her social service. And the next group photo is about myself with all the transgender people who wanted literally a job, who are educated, who are run away or who are shunned from family and society, but wanted a job, but nobody's preferring them for a job. And I found one transgender sister by name Jayanti, who was very good at computer works. So I had offered her a job at Trichy in Sri Rangam, and now currently she's working as a typist there in a desktop application small house. And the next transgender is about the Bharati Kannamma. She is one of the oldest transgender who actually fought for all kind of transgender moves. Today you have social media. Today you have all kind of technology. But days back when technology was not revealed, days back when everyone was actually prone, they were into protest. So she have done a lot of protests, and today she is highly affected with HIV as well, with no treatment. Still she's been taken care of by her own chelas. And this photo is another one where I found a transgender sister by name Mansi, and my student Gauri there, who is actually married, and she's living with her husband proudly, knowing that her husband accepted her as a transgender. Before that, she was doing a flesh trade, and now she's a very good homemaker, making all kind of culinary skills, cooking skills, and now she is packing, like home orders she's taking. And the last one is the transgender. I forgot her sister's name. I'm sorry at this moment, but she's a transgender who lives in a rented home very decently, very respectfully. People do respect her because she is working as an astrologer. So these are the few clips for your references to cite you that I have done a research work, and I hope this session would have been somewhat, to some extent, it should have been useful, and I believe that strongly this would have been an opening. Conclude the last statement with a small quote. Being parent is not to be proud enough for a child, but being a good parent, understanding a child's gender is more important, and that is what I'm actually working out for as a solo man, as a single man, a single woman with no agency, with no trust, with no NGO. I'm not connected with any of them, with a single man army, and with my few student volunteers who I teach in my own class. I try to propagate the idea of transgender, and I take door to door step, field work, recognizing that if any transgender is available at home, because the census itself does not reveal a true fact about the transgenders. There are many families who try to hide their child's identity, saying that my child is a male, my child is not a female, please don't go and ask, our child is mar gaya, dead, khatam ho gaya. It's not that. So I try to make the best possible way from my side to help the government of Tamil Nadu to reveal the true census to my extent possible, to the village, to the locality, to the taluk, to the district where I belong to. This is the small best possible help I can do from my side, and I hope that if you are interested to join me with this good initiative, I would be more happy with you. Or if you can take up a good initiative from your own countryside, I would be more happy, and I would be really very much be pledged, and I be bowed for this wonderful opportunity. Bedkar sir, I'm so thankful to you at this moment. I really want to thank you, because for creating this mass awareness, you may not really imagine how many colleges I have really gone. And I approached a minimum, to my knowledge, I have approached nearly 800 colleges. 800 is not an easy task for women to go personally and meet. But you would not imagine only 65 colleges really turned up to have shown interest that, ma'am, okay, fine, it's a good topic, you can really come and give and deliver a talk to our students. But most of them, then what does it do with me, madam? It's nothing to go with the curriculum. And I'm happy that I'm writing a book on third gender to incorporate in every syllabus for a student right from 12th class, they should be knowing how a transgender child is also to be born. So with all your blessings, with all your elders ki duaएं से, I hope that I have done my best presentation satisfyingly, I hope. And thank you for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Bedkar sir. Thank you, Prashant sir. Thank you so much for lovely audiences and participants as well.
Thank you very much, madam, for your wonderful presentation on the topic today. Now I request the participant, please, if you have any query or want to ask something, please come forward.
Assalamu alaikum, madam. My Hyderabad. It was very, very wonderful, informative, having a commerce background a topic which is very surprising. When you said you are a student of commerce, and I was shocking that having a commerce background, taking up such a new area, explored, and also working very, very sincerely, honestly, and very, very industriously. Really, it's great. Nothing as such, because you made everything very crystal clear. As such, it's great service to the nation. And also, as हमारे पास भी है, सबूबी नज़रुल्लाह अलैहि का फरमान है कि खिदमत खल्क़ खुदा है. So if you cannot directly do the Allah Ta'ala, through this way, you can reach the Almighty. So it's great service. My hearty congratulations to you for taking up this wonderful job, and I wish you all the best in your endeavor. Thank you so much for you.
Thank you, sir. Jazakallah khair, Badiuddin sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Badiuddin sir. Again, I requested, please, if you have any query, please ask to madam. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Myself, Dr. Swani Shukla. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, Shukla, sir.
Yeah. Ma'am, it was really wonderful presentation, and we could feel the sentiment behind the top of what you are working with. And definitely the 800 colleges, what you have done, it is a kind of agitation what you have started, and it has to move further. That is very much a need of a time, one thing. Second thing, the thing is when we are having a kind of a forms or something, we are writing male, female, and others. Rather than others, what you are saying, the respected woman or respected, that word has to become, we are giving a feeling, others means what? Others doesn't have meaning as such, right? So there should be...
Sir, 1 minute. Already UGC, University Grants Commission, they have mentioned in the year 2017 that, others should not be mentioned. Others, koi bail bachra nahi hai na, wo bhi to insaan hai. So they should be recognized.
That is what.
Yeah.
That is what.
Yeah.
And one more very important thing is the social, agitation, in the sense, we have to change the generation's view as such, that they are a part of the family. Usually what happens, they get segregated, one thing, and then they are living in a different community where their socio-cultural concepts, aspects, traditions, their living styles, their finance, everything is different. I'm having 2 to 3 patients like this, okay? And these people are really, they are having their emotions, their mental setup, we are not learning at all. That is one thing. Nowadays, people are talking about reconstructive surgeries and other surgeries. We can change them physically, but what about their psychology? What about their hormones? What about their feelings? We are not going to that depth. And that is one thing, I will not ask them to do kind of surgeries, because this will be an artificial intrusion in their natural thing, what they have received from the God. Right? So it should not be done, and they should be proud what they are. And our children, our next generation, should accept them as, as we are accepting. If I'm a male, I'm accepting a female in my community. We should accept them in that freely way. The families should support them, and they should not segregate them. So naturally, the low traits, low aspects, what they are going with, and many choices they are going with. It is not an easy job or easy life to live like this. Okay, so. should be a part of a family. I had seen one person still staying with the family and taking care of old mother, and they are having that family touch, and they're having the grandson and other things. So means brothers this. So they are living a wonderful life. They are having a kind of fun, a kind of enjoyment. But when we are segregating them, we just think about ourselves, that if I will segregate myself like this, what will happen? So that feeling has to come, and we have to accept them at some point. I remember one of my doctor friend, told me one story, small story, and then I had written a story, big story. Of course, it is in a Marathi. The two friends were there. One friend was one of the friend was very much great in mathematics, and then after certain time they they were not in a touch, and that the doctor was working in a hospital, and all of a sudden he got some accident case, and he saw a transgender person, and when he saw his face, he recognized it is very much familiar face to him. So he said, "Are you the same person?" He said, "Yes." The doctor asked the person, "Are you the same person?" He said, "Yes." Then he said, "Yes, I remember. तुझं गणित तो खूप चांगलं होतं. Means your mathematics was very nice." तो बोले कि मेरा मैथमेटिक्स तो अच्छा था, लेकिन मेरे भगवान ने मेरा मैथमेटिक्स खराब किया. तो गणित करके मैंने वो स्टोरी लिखी है. But the thing is, is definitely we have to accept it at some places. No doubt there are some examples where people are becoming advocates and they are at higher positions also. But they must have come with, such a zeal, and with a fight. They must have, they have come from this kind of place. So hope that, we should change our thinking and the attitude, and they are a part. I remember one of the episode when we went to Delhi. I was having near about 110 students with me for the study tour, and we went to New Delhi, and all of a sudden we come to know that the Nizamuddin is a railway station. And now what to do? I went to railway station because going by road it was very difficult. So I went to the railway station master, and I asked him to give some concession or some train. So he offered us Palwal train, and then we catch that Palwal train, and it was so much. There was so rush, and it was very difficult to get all these 110 students in all bogies to get in. But I remember one of the team of all these transgender people. They're like a soldier. They came in front of us, and many of the girl students were there, and they asked to move other people from the train. It really, increase a lot of risk for them, these people. So with this, today you have done a wonderful presentation. What work you are doing is wonderful. Everything starts from the small thing, and definitely it will grow in the future. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Shukla, sir. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Namaskar, myself, Dr. Kadam.
Yes, sir.
Very wonderful session was that.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Very
you, sir.
knowledgeable session I have listened today. और एक बात मुझे यहाँ पे मेंशन करनी है मैडम कि हम कौन सी जाति में जन्म लेते हैं, कौन सी धर्म में जन्म लेते हैं, या कौन सी जेंडर में जन्म लेते हैं, ये हमारे हाथ की बात नहीं है.
जी बिल्कुल.
लेकिन जब आप जैसे बोले अभी, इसके पहले स्वामी शुक्ला सर ने भी बोला कि जो भी हमें गॉड ने दिया है उसको हमें रिस्पेक्ट करना चाहिए.
जी बिल्कुल सर.
सोसाइटी ने भी यही ट्रेंड चलाना चाहिए. लेकिन हमारे यहाँ कल्चर के नाम पे या कोई क्या बोलेंगे उसको मिक्स के नाम पे हम देखते हैं कि रोड के ऊपर ऐसे जो ट्रांसजेंडर रहते हैं पीपल्स, इनको पैसे देना और उनसे कोई दुआ लेना, ये एक ट्रेंड चलता है हर जगह. रोड पे हम देखते हैं. मैं अब लातूर से जब औसा जाता हूँ तो वहाँ एक जगह पे हम डेली देख रहे हैं कि कुछ ऐसे लड़के आते हैं सामने, उनको पैसे दिए जाते हैं और वो लोग ऐसा सोचते हैं कि इनको अगर पैसे दिए तो मुझे अच्छी दुआ लगेगी.
जी.
तो दिस इज वन ऑफ द व्हाट वी कैन से वे ऑफ द सोसाइटी to what we can say, उन्हें हम इस तरह का जीवन जीने के लिए मजबूर कर रहे हैं कि हम उनको भीख दे रहे हैं और वो आराम से ले रहे हैं। तो ये भी एक गलत तरीका है मेरे सोच में।
सर मैं सर
इसके बारे में आपका क्या सोचना है?
जी मैं आपको ये बताती हूँ कि जब आप पैसे देते हैं तो पैसे देने के बदले में आप अपना आईडी कार्ड दे दीजिए। Instead of sharing or giving 1 rupee or 10 rupee to a transgender and making them for a survival, for a minute survival, you can make a transgender by giving your ID cards or by giving your your any of your job की जो भी offering है वो आप कर सकते हैं, and you can make them entirely live for a lifelong, for a good survival, for decent survival, for respectable survival. तो ये हम अपनी तरफ से छोटी मदद कर सकते हैं. Because I have also personally undergone this stage. When I used to give 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 20 rupees to a transgender, they used to bless me. Even without giving all, they used to bless me. जब मुझे एक दिन ऐसा, while I was traveling on a bus, I felt that why I should give to a transgender every time 10 rupees, 5 rupees, एक जाता है, फिर एक आते हैं, एक जाते हैं, फिर एक आते हैं. So if I have money, I'll give. जब मेरे पास पैसे ही नहीं तो मैं करूं क्या? So that time I really realized, because I had only 200 rupees to go to my native and 50 rupees, 60 rupees I gave to all transgenders, to all 6 transgenders, each carrying 10. तो मुझे लगा कि I'm still in shortage. Why can't I give my my resume or to my ID card or my mobile number with a trust, asking them, okay, for a while I spoke to them, I tell them, okay, fine, if you really want to leave this wholeheartedly and come and live a decent life, please do call me. So, you can just give an opening. जरूरी नहीं है कि they have to join. मतलब it's not necessary that you are given a number, they should call you or they should be like living a decent life. It's up to their choice. But यहाँ तक कि we need to understand that we need to give them opening. See, there are many cases where we think that their curse or their blessings are very true, but the same society also degrades them. तो उनकी दुआएं भी मिलती है, बदुआ भी जब सही होती है तो दुआएं अच्छे हो जाते हैं. But then what about when you try to completely exclude them from society? How can a socially excluded community from our own people, from our own society, how do you expect them to give good blessings? They may not really give you good blessings. They may have, okay, the time being they may think, हाँ 10 रुपए मिल गए, चलो खुश हो. They can say, but not necessary. But the point what I'm trying to convey you is, whether it's true or not, whether we believe it or not, let us as an individual, as a human being, as a humanitarian, let's give them a door open. Let's be wide open. Let us say, let them say, chalo, this sir, when he recognized me, I was this, and today I'm living because of him. Just be for what you are born. At least एक नाम तो होना चाहिए कि हाँ मैं इस दुनिया में पैदा हुई हूँ, मेरे से कुछ मतलब है, मेरे से कुछ 2-3 आदमी अच्छे काम के लिए यूज हो रहे हैं, तो it's fine. When they try to come that way, they will try to bring the entire community by themselves. जैसे कि वो अपने prostitution के लेवल में जाते हैं या भीख मांगने जाते हैं, the same way once a transgender is established, she'll bring her whole clan to the same path, and she will guide the other fellow transgenders. So यही मैं बोल रही हूँ, don't try to give them money, but rather you try to give them an offering as a job, or share your contact number or your email ID or whatever is possible to your trustworthy if you think. तो आपको भी अपनी होशियारी में होना चाहिए. You should also be very much be alert. कि ऐसा नहीं है कि चलो हाँ सब transgenders like ऐसे भी transgenders है, people who try to cheat us also. But we should know, हमें पता है ना कि हाँ ये सही बोल रही है या झूठ बोल रही है या मतलब कुछ खिचड़ी पका रहे हैं, तो हमें वो थोड़ा सेंस होना चाहिए कि हाँ she is right, she is wrong, or she is really good human, she will listen to us or she may not be said to us. तो छोड़ देना है बस. तो हमें अपनी होशियारी से जिसको हेल्प कर सकते हैं, leave up to the God. मैं तो हमेशा यही बोलती हूँ कि हाँ जब भी मैं किसी को हेल्प करती हूँ, I always have one small prayer. If it is really good, if you think Ya Allah, अगर if you think that this is a right way what I'm doing, just keep me forward. If you think something is really fishy in what I'm trying to help, or maybe I'm getting trapped, please save me from all kind of animosity. तो मुझे जो अच्छाई है मुझे करने की हिदायत दे, और जो मेरी बुराई है तो मुझे उससे रोक ले. This small one prayer can really help and can change millions of lives. and you can be a change maker for many transgender lives. So never try to give them money or try to again bring them to the same fringe, to the same clutches of again you're pushing them to the same poverty, same slum area, society we are responsible.
Exactly.
So there's no point the government is trying to bring schemes or the government is trying to bring welfare boards or anything. Again, the trans community will blame society. Society will again blame the trans community. So here again we'll have a gap. So never try to try to bridge the gap. Don't try to again exaggerate the gap.
Okay, thank you, madam. Very good session that was.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
लुबना में बेटकर सर से एक निवेदन है मेरा।
हाँ जी।
सबसे पहले क्वेश्चन किया जाए और फिर डिस्कस किया जाए कार्यक्रम में, ये मेरा निवेदन है, क्योंकि हम क्वेश्चन वाले पीछे रह जाते हैं। मैडम, मेरा एक ऐसा क्वेश्चन है कि प्राचीन काल से अंग्रेजों के आने तक किन्नरों की स्थिति अच्छी थी, लेकिन जैसे अंग्रेज आने शुरू हुए तो किन्नर की परिस्थिति बहुत खराब है आज भी। इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं कि कुछ एरिया ऐसे हैं जहाँ पर किसी शादी समारोह में नहीं जा सकते, कि वहां पर भगा दिए जाते हैं, उनको ये कह देता है कि इस दंपति को बच्चे भी नहीं होंगे। मेरा खुद का ये रिसर्च है। तो मेरा सवाल ये है कि जो ट्रांसजेंडर है वो जैसे अपने कन्वर्ट हो रहे हैं, तो जैसे हमारे किन्नर की तो परिस्थिति ठीक नहीं, तो क्या ट्रांसजेंडर की भी ऐसी परिस्थिति नहीं हो जाएगी समाज में? मेरा ये सवाल है।
मतलब आपका पूछना है कि पहले वो अच्छे थे, अब मतलब ब्रिटिश आने के बाद मतलब उनकी जो सिचुएशन है बदल गई है ना
मैडम?
ये बदलने का
मेरा सवाल ये है कि नहीं मैडम, मेरा सवाल है जो किन्नर है वो भगवान की नेचुरल होता है, लेकिन जो ट्रांसजेंडर है वो कन्वर्ट होता है, यानी सर्जरी के थ्रू होता है। तो क्या आने वाले दिनों में कि जैसे किन्नर की परिस्थिति अच्छी नहीं है समाज में, अब भी मैंने बहुत बारीकी से कई स्टेट का मुआयना किया है, तो ट्रांसजेंडर की भी परिस्थिति ऐसी नहीं हो जाएगी क्या समाज में? मेरा ये सवाल है।
नहीं सर, देखिए आप जो बता रहे हैं किन्नर जो है वो बायोलॉजिकली दे आर बोर्न विद द बायोलॉजिकल डिफेक्ट कि खुदा ने उनको खुद ऐसे ही पैदा किया है। लेकिन जो ट्रांसजेंडर्स हैं वो कुछ ऐसे मानते हैं, मतलब अब आजकल के मुझे पता नहीं आपने एक रिसर्च पेपर पढ़ा है कि नहीं, मैं उनका नाम भूल गई थी, तो उसमें उन्होंने मेंशन किया है कि आज के जमाने में जो ट्रांसजेंडर्स बदल रहे हैं जो कि वेरी मच इक्विवेलेंट टू अ किन्नर जो आप बता रहे हैं, तो इसके कुछ कारण हैं। ये उनके जो खाने पीने का तरीका, एनवायरमेंटल का जो तरीका, पैदाशी का जो तरीका या सेक्सुअल का जो पैटर्न होता है जो माँ बाप करते हैं वो तरीका, उससे भी मतलब काफी क्या होता है कि ये जो हार्मोन की इम्बैलेंस होती है इसमें उनके बदलाव आज के जो हम किन्नर देख रहे हैं ये पूरे उस तरीके के हैं जो कि नॉर्मल किन्नर नहीं है, बायोलॉजिकली नहीं है, मतलब बाय बर्थ नहीं है। जैसा आप बता रहे हैं कि सब लोग जो हैं जो 12-13 साल में जो बदलते हैं, जो कि उनकी प्यूबर्टी स्टेज जो होती है वो उस तरीके से बदलते हैं। तो अगर आप देखा जाए तो तकरीबन 30,000 लोगों में सिर्फ एक किन्नर जो होता है, एक बच्चा जो पैदा होता है वो बायोलॉजिकली इट इज अ ट्रू किन्नर, अ ट्रू ट्रांसजेंडर बाय बर्थ। तो बाकी के जितने भी हैं ऑल द रेस्ट ऑल ऑफ देम आर, यू कैन नॉट कॉल देम एज अ फेक ट्रांसजेंडर। फेक ट्रांसजेंडर वो बिल्कुल अलग है जो कि मतलब उनके पास कोई रिएक्शन नहीं है, उनके पास कोई हार्मोनल चेंजेस ही नहीं है। अब देखिए ना, अगर कोई लड़की है तो लड़की को भी मतलब कुछ दाढ़ी निकलती है या तो ज्यादा पिंपल्स आते हैं या किसी लड़की की आवाज जो है बिल्कुल मतलब मेल की आवाज जैसी होती है। तो दीज आर ऑल्सो दी हार्मोनल चेंजेस। किसी को मेंस्ट्रुएशन होता है, किसी को नहीं होता है। तो ऑल दीज आर हैपनिंग बिकॉज ऑफ देयर लाइफस्टाइल, बिकॉज ऑफ योर डिप्रेशन, बिकॉज ऑफ योर वर्क कल्चर, बिकॉज ऑफ योर द वे यू आर लिविंग इन एनवायरनमेंट, द वे हाउ यू आर balancing your natural food, your body and your soul। ये तीन जो होता है वो होता है। लेकिन जैसा आप बोलते हैं तो किन्नर जैसे तो ये नहीं है, लेकिन इनकी जो बर्ताव है it will be more in coming futures। Transgenders will be more demanding even in the futures rather than a kinner। So इनकी जो परिस्थिति जो होती है this will be keeping on growing more and more, it will not go down। क्योंकि ये हम हर बच्चे से ये आजकल देखिए, उस जमाने में सिर्फ एक किन्नर मे बी इन एंटायर डिस्ट्रिक्ट यू मे फाइंड। जब मैं छोटी थी तो मैंने 2-3 लोगों को देखा था। जब मैं अब इतने साल में हूँ, जब मैं अपना रिसर्च में कर रही हूँ, अब 4-5 साल से आई कैन फाइंड वेरी फ्रीक्वेंटली 10, 12, 30 ट्रांसजेंडर्स इन अ डे। तो सुबह देखती हूँ 10 लोगों को देखती हूँ, शाम को 2 को देखती हूँ, रात को तो मैं बिल्कुल भी देखती रहती हूँ। सो ऐसा है। तो जो ये परिस्थिति जो डिमांड इनकी है दिस विल बी ग्रोइंग मोर हाई but not of a biological kinner जो आप बोल रहे हैं उनका तो कम ही होगा. So that will be very rare genetical or maybe very rare case birth of a transgender which may take place. इसलिए मैंने बताया कि 30,000 लोगों में सिर्फ एक किन्नर ऐसे पैदा होते हैं. So that is a very rare phenomenon. Otherwise, these people will be more in demand. शायद आपने पूछा है शायद. That's how I understood.
नहीं, थैंक यू मैम, सही कहा आपने, क्योंकि आज नकली भी किन्नर हो गए, ये आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा है. धन्यवाद मैम.
वो तो बिल्कुल अलग है. नकली किन्नर मतलब इनको हम नकली किन्नर तो नहीं बोल सकते, लेकिन नकली किन्नर ऐसे होते हैं कि जो मर्द हैं. आई हैव सीन माय ओन केस. मैं आपको बताऊं, मदुरई में एक ऐसा लड़का है जो अपने फैमिली को देख नहीं पा रहा, जो अपनी कमाई धंधा कुछ नहीं करता. ही इज नॉट डूइंग एनी वर्क, ही इज नॉट रनिंग हिज फैमिली, इज नॉट ही बेसिकली वेरी अटर लेजी है. बिल्कुल भी लेजी है, लेकिन उसको कमाना नहीं है तो उसने धंधा बना के रखा है कि हाँ मैं हिजड़ा बन गया हूँ. तो वो बस स्टैंड पे जाता है, एक टाइम पे जाता है, ना ऑफिस जाता है ना कहीं नहीं जाता, लेकिन घर में बोलता है कि आई गो टू एन ऑफिस. तो दे ट्राई टू वेयर ऑल द काइंड्स ऑफ इनर एंड आउटफिट जो है लेडीज के पहनते हैं, जाके भीख मांगता है. तो भीख मांगने के लिए उसके पास टाइम है, भीख मांगने के लिए ही इज नॉट गेटिंग लेजी, लेकिन कमाने के लिए उसे इतनी लेजीनेस फील होती है, महसूस होती है. और सबसे बड़ी ये बात है कि लेजीनेस से बढ़कर उसके पास कर्ज है. ही इज हैविंग लॉट ऑफ डेट, ही इज इनटू कंप्लीटली इनटू इंसॉल्वेंट केस. तो उसे कर्ज चुकाना नहीं आता था, तो ऐसे बना के बैठ जाते हैं कि हाँ मैं किन्नर हो गया. तब किन्नर के पास कोई मांगेगा क्या? कोई अपना उधार तो नहीं मांगेगा ना. तो ये होते हैं फेक ट्रांसजेंडर्स. तो जो अब है वो फेक ट्रांसजेंडर्स नहीं है, लेकिन ऐसे लोग जिसके चलन में, जिसकी बात में, जिसके अपने बिहेवियर में जितना भी वो प्रैक्टिस करें, यू कैन रियली आइडेंटिफाई अ ट्रांसजेंडर, एज अ किन्नर और एज अ फेक ट्रांसजेंडर, एज अ फेक ट्रांस. तो अपनी रियल आइडेंटिटी को बहुत दिन तक छुपा नहीं सकते. तो ये होते हैं फेक ट्रांसजेंडर्स हु आर रनिंग बिहाइंड और रनिंग backing of their family, or not taking any responsibility, or because of any other personal reasons, or maybe any love affair reasons, or maybe because of their home financial conditions को लेके, when they are trying to dress or disguise as a transgender, these people are called as fake transgenders. But the transgenders who are really here, they are slightly biologically, but not entirely, maybe 50% or 40% of the transgenders are transgenders, but biologically who are born as kinner are rare as 30,000 in one in case. तो ये है सर, ये 3 फर्क होते हैं. जयवी सर.
थैंक यू मैम, आपने सही कहा, धन्यवाद.
थैंक यू सर, ऑल द बेस्ट फॉर योर
थैंक्स.
Hello ma'am.
Yes, myself Ghani Kadam. Yes, so it was very good topic and you have put forward very nicely. Recently I attended one of the conference, and just I want to add in that this being a human, we should accept these people. Yeah, being a human means there should not be a male, no female, and others. They are human beings, so we should accept them. This is one of the part, and the secondly, where the what we discussed is, so where actually we get we focus them is when they use the toilets. So this was the point which was raised there in the conference, that there should not be a male toilet and female toilet. We should come in that equality, that no any gender means this type of the people, they will not get confused. Where should I go when I use the toilet? Should I go in the toilets, in the woman toilet or in the male toilets, right? So this type of the problem should not create in them being a human being. Okay, so there should be a toilet which is common for all, and anybody can use them. So these people, because whenever the transgenders or this type of the hijras and this comes within means when we focus on them, we see which toilets they are using. So we always are on that. We keep an eye that where they are going. And we just enjoy. I don't know. I mean, the enjoy in the sense we just say, acha, he is going in male toilet, and they mostly prefer the woman toilet, ladies toilet actually. And when they come in the ladies toilet, we women they scare. Yeah. Right? But this should not happen. Being a human, we should accept them as a human being. This only I wanted to say.
Yeah, actually, your point is very good, because When it comes to a male, we have a male toilet. When it comes to female, we have a female toilet. Female has a problem with a transgender. Transgender does not have a problem with female because, as you say, जब वो जाते हैं ladies toilet पे, तो every woman is like, why is she coming into this toilet? What is she here to do? This is what every woman thinks of. Is she going to scare me? Is she going to flash her private part? Oh my God, this is what people think. And what transgender feel is when they go to a male toilet, people they try to abuse them. कि हाँ, this is the right way, the right chance where I can move. कि I can know मतलब कुछ मैं कर सकता हूँ. So that is why they don't prefer going to a male toilet rather than they go for a female toilet. And I'm at this point I would like to confess that Trichy Municipal Corporation from Tamil Nadu, they have a separate toilet called third gender toilet. So either you can say, as you say, maybe a neutral based toilet, or in foreign countries as we have gender variant toilets, or if not, you may have a toilet separately for a third gender, which is nothing wrong because these people are definitely in crowd and they may be moving here and there. People may not mistaken. जब एक handicap को अलग मतलब toilet दिया जाता है, why not for these people? So let's consider them as a human being and let us give them a separate toilet if the female or if the public really wants, because every transgender feels that we have no objection using a ladies toilet, but we do have objection using a gents toilet because people they try to abuse us in every possible way at a single chance. So we don't want to take risk again and again much more. So ये होता है कि we may have gender variant toilet, or we may have separately a third gender toilet, like we have the model of Trichy Municipal Corporation. Also, the same is applied for in Odisha also. Odisha में भी ऐसा एक toilet है, third gender toilet है. So I think every state can follow this model. That's nothing wrong to be done, and that's quite proud to be felt about our own country to safeguard our own citizens.
थैंक यू मैडम, बहुत ही अच्छा डिस्कशन चला. मैडम मेरे भी मन में एक सवाल है.
जी सर.
जैसे ये किन्नर को जो रहते हैं, कभी कभी वो पैसा मांगते हैं या किसी ने नहीं दिया तो वो झगड़ा भी करते हैं, कुछ गालियां भी देते हैं, तो ऐसा होना चाहिए क्या? और दूसरी एक बात है ये है मैडम कि अगर गवर्नमेंट ने यानी अगर अलग अलग क्षेत्र में उनको अगर फैसिलिटी दे, कुछ यानी एम्प्लॉयमेंट, उसको नौकरी वगैरह दे दिए, तो ये सब प्रॉब्लम खत्म हो जाएगी. उनको इतना ये बैंक मांगने की या कुछ ये करने की जरूरत नहीं है. ऐसा मेरा एक मन में सवाल है, आप बोलिए प्लीज.
जी, एक तो है आप जो बता रहे हैं कि जॉब्स जो है तो हम उनको हाउसकीपिंग में ले सकते हैं, कुकिंग में ले सकते हैं, मिलिट्री में ले सकते हैं, एयरक्राफ्ट में ले सकते हैं, इंजीनियरिंग इंडस्ट्री, सीमेंट वर्क्स में ले सकते हैं. सो ये जो एरियाज है, और मे बी फार्मिंग, इवन एग्रीकल्चर. तूतुकुड़ी इज वन डिस्ट्रिक्ट इन तमिलनाडु जहाँ की एक बड़ी फार्म है जो कंप्लीटली जो है ग्रीन फार्म, इट्स रन बाय ट्रांसजेंडर, एक्सक्लूसिवली बाय अ ट्रांसजेंडर. तो आप नहीं मानोगे कि वहाँ तकरीबन 50-60 बैल बछड़े हैं, वो खुद फार्मिंग करते हैं, खुद अपना दूध निकालते हैं, खुद दूध बेचते भी हैं, लेकिन बेचने में उनको तकलीफ आती है क्योंकि एज अ ट्रांसजेंडर वो बाहर नहीं जाके मार्केटिंग कर नहीं सकते. इतना तो मेहनत कर लेते हैं, इतना सब कुछ कर लेते हैं, बट व्हेन कम्स टू मार्केटिंग पॉइंट, अगेन द जेंडर एज अ पॉइंट इज कंसिडर्ड. तो गवर्नमेंट कैन ब्रिंग a few areas or few arenas which can be kept open for transgenders, and military is one great scheme where these people can really go into. तो ये जो ऐसी एरियाज है वहां पे उनको हम इन्वॉल्व कर सकते हैं फॉर एम्प्लॉयमेंट पर्पस. तो जैसा ये एम्प्लॉयमेंट में आएंगे तो अपनी सोशल इकोनॉमिक लेवल बढ़ेगी. तो जब ये बढ़ेगी तो ऑब्वियसली एंटरप्रेन्योर डेवलपमेंट स्किल बढ़ेगा, and we all know that entrepreneurial development skill is always breaking the barriers and unifying the entire nation. Economic integrity है, economic value बढ़ता है, GDP बढ़ता है, NDP बढ़ता है, ये सबसे बढ़ के स्टैंड ऑफ लिविंग जो एक आदमी का होता है वो बढ़ जाता है. तो इनको ये भीख मांगने की जरूरत या फिर ये जो न्यूसेंस जो ये ऑड जॉब्स करते हैं या लिविंग इन स्लम्स, वो भी इनकी जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. सो व्हेन एवरीथिंग एज लॉ एंड ऑर्डर कम्स इन इक्वालिटी, व्हेन एवरी सिटीजन इज कंसिडर्ड एज सेम, जो कि कोटा है या उनकी कोई रिजर्वेशंस होते हैं, तो ऐसा अगर हम कर सकते हैं गवर्नमेंट, ये बिल्कुल गवर्नमेंट ही कर सकते हैं. बिकॉज जितना भी एनजीओ करें, सीबीओ करें, पब्लिक करें या पूरे लोग मिलकर भी करें, अगेन ट्रांसजेंडर विल नॉट लिसन, तो कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं कि हाँ, अब देखिए कोचिन का जो रेलवे मेट्रो रेल का जो स्कीम आया था 4 साल की पहले की बात है, 4 years back, when Kochi Metro they came up with the hiring of 11 transgenders. I think only currently 2 or 3 transgenders are surviving. So बाकी के the rest of them 9 to 8 have left the job. The reason for leaving the job is one, एक तो बता रहे थे कि one cashier have put up financial मतलब चोरी कर लिया, ऐसे बता दिए थे. So it was said that she has stolen the money because she's a transgender, without any proof, without nothing. Just because she's a transgender, she was in need of money, she have stolen the money. तो ऐसा मतलब एक कैशियर ने धब्बा लगा दिया, तो वहां से निकलना पड़ा. तो बाकी के जो 7-8 लोग थे, people say from Aluva station to कुछ और स्टेशन से, I have to travel every day up and down, man, 2 hours, and for me every time this traveling itself takes a lot of money. वहां से मुझे बस पकड़ना है, बस के बाद मुझे चल के जाना है. So my entire earning, what I'm making 15 rupees, 20,000 rupees per month, entire 10,000 rupees is completely gone in my traveling expense. तो फिर मैं अपने लिए क्या रखूं, अपने परिवार के लिए क्या रखूं, मैं घर क्या भेजूं, अपने इलाज के लिए क्या रखूं, what will I keep it as my savings, what will I make it as my expenditure when everything as the 20,000 salary. दिखने में तो अच्छा है कि हाँ 20,000 salary is a decent amount, गवर्नमेंट की अर्निंग है, गवर्नमेंट का पगार है, but when it comes to, because they have more expenses than us, उनकी जो सर्जरी के लिए हो या फैशन के लिए हो, आउटफिट्स के लिए हो, वुमेनहुड के लिए, they make lot of expenses. So they try to spend the entire money only on this, or either on surgery or either on drugs. ये 3 तो है. So drugs इसलिए कि because when they are getting into transition they have to use medical dosages, इसलिए होता है. या तो फिर अपनी आदत से मजबूर, या कोई बीड़ी पीता है, सिगरेट पीता है, क्या तम्बाकू चलाता है, तो that's up to their choice. But इसमें एक्सपेंस उनके बिगड़ जाते हैं. तो ये प्रॉब्लम है कि इवन बिसाइड्स आई एम गेटिंग 20,000 रुपीज, आई एम स्टिल नॉट एबल टू हैव माय ओन सेविंग्स, आई एम नॉट एबल टू इवन सर्वाइव. तो फिर मुझे करना क्या है? इट्स बेटर अगेन आई गो बैक टू द सेम ऑड जॉब दैट आई यूज्ड टू अर्न 50-60 पर डे. मैं एक क्लाइंट में बैठूं तो मुझे मतलब 10,000-12,000 मिल जाते हैं मैम. तो अगर मैं महीने में 6 दिन या 7 दिन काम करूं, आई एम हैप्पी अबाउट, आई एम लिविंग, मैं अपनी जगह में आई एम द ओन क्वीन ऑफ माय ओन क्राउन एंड आई एम ओन रेजिम. तो ऐसे बोलते हैं. तो फिर हम करते क्या है कि रिजर्वेशन जो करते हैं प्रॉपरली करना है, सिस्टमैटिकली करना है. एट द सेम टाइम उनकी जो भी मतलब डिफिकल्टीज है या कुछ भी है, वो सोच समझ के अगर स्कीम की तरह लाया जाए तो आई थिंक टू सम एक्सटेंट, मैं ये नहीं बोल रही हूँ कि हाँ कंप्लीटली वी कैन इरेडिकेट, नहीं, but still to some extent maybe 5% or 6% or 10% in upcoming years with the entire group we can help them together. सोसाइटी कैन हेल्प देम टुगेदर. फैमिलीज को भी अंडरस्टैंड करना है कि हाँ मेरे बच्चा ऐसा है, मेरा बच्चा ऐसा हो गया है, हमारी वजह से ऐसा बाहर निकला है, आज निकलने के बाद बिकॉज ऑफ मी शी हैज गॉन आउट ऑफ द होम एंड बिकॉज ऑफ गोइंग आउट ऑफ द होम टुडे शी इज सफरिंग अ लॉट एंड दैट इज नॉट. और सबसे बढ़कर एवरी ट्रांसजेंडर शुड बी एंटाइटल्ड विद देयर प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स. ये जरूरी है. फॉरगेट अबाउट द मैरिज राइट्स, but ancestral property rights. As a child is born in society, they must have at least 1% or 2% of their share, whether they accept or not. If they try to bring this, maybe they can have for their old, अपने बुढ़ापे में कुछ यूज कर सकते हैं. So this can really help out, sir.
Okay, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Today's time is over. More than after 8 o'clock. Okay, doesn't matter, madam. You presented very nicely. Now I request Honorable Chief Organizer of the series, Honorable Principal Sir, please come share some views regarding the sessions. Please, sir.
Thank you, Prashant sir, and today's resource person LUBNA madam. All my colleague, Dr. Professor K.N. Kadam sir, Professor Sanjay Kale sir, Anita Dhole madam, Jaivir Singh ji, and others, all those who are joining daily. It was the pending topic for this webinar for so many days. She was contacted me, sir, can I join here as the resource person? I was accepted that topic and her invitation offer. But because of the scheduleness and all the engage of the sessions, I couldn't give her opportunity to express her ideas on this topic early. but not so late. Still the webinar series is running on, and yesterday her message was read by me, and I quickly accepted her because tomorrow's session was already scheduled with the madam. She was having accident with her, so that it was a very best session. Not a single pause between two sentences, full of flooding all the knowledge from history to today's problem and her research work. She is very active and also well educated, trying to do for something for her society, to create job. Professor Ken Kadam asked one question, and she answered her that she answered him that you should give your I card to that persons, though they can be accepted as for a job anytime, so they don't need to go for wrong work or for begging. So this topic was completely new for us, and not knowing any history from that, just what the picture of that transgenders was on the road, what we see, or in the railway what we see. But you clarified all these things. They having ability, they are having their potential, they can do so much for the society, they are having such creativity themselves, but because of this discrimination they are thrown away from the society. As Shukla sir said that one example that he helped by all genders to transport their student. So they are human, but we are not accepting, our society is not accepting. They are human, they are having their feeling, they are having right to do some job, they are having right to their opportunity. As Shukla sir said, there are so many have their got their best places and working well for the society. We wish all the best for your future, and any help from us for your work, you can always inform us. We will do something for you also. And in our surrounding, those who are meeting us as like Transgender on Ausa Road, we will definitely look personally to them. What's your problem? Where you are living? What you are the skills with you? Why you are not searching any job? So we will personally try to. My staff is already on the road. That Professor Kadam sir said that. So we will just look personally. We try to do something for them as our best practice for our college. It will the good work. You give us a new.
Of course, sir. Of course.
It's a good decision and intimation given by you. We should see. We love the animals, but why we not love to these persons, those who are like us?
Exactly.
For sparing your time and very best speech. It was a flash of your research and associate that attention with the all the points with law, what are provisions of there, what are the new laws, and where the which states are having giving these facilities, all these things. Thank you. And in future also, if you have next point any social issue, you are always invited. Thank you, Lubina.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Prashant sir, Karan sir, Jaiveer sir, and I think another sir who, Shukla sir. So thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity, and all your praise assured to me, and our praise assured to you as well.
Thank you, madam. Just wait for 1 minute. I've come to vote of thanks,
Yeah,
Shri
sure.
Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya Ausa is running this World Record Series 2. And today's topic was for the session Life of Transgender, which is presented Honorable Dr. SURAIYA Madam very nicely, covered every aspects to the topics. We know some difference between transgender and transgenders. Before we don't know about these words, and you have clarified all the things here. You focused upon the life of transgenders, some historical evidences, as well as some scientific birth of transgenders, some laws regarding the transgenders, some medical surgery, how what are the medical facility, how medical surgery should be undertaken, as well as the inclusive schemes which are available for the transgenders. And you given one beautiful message that they must have a specific identity, that this transgender must be known, should know the third gender. So these are the very things you cleared very nicely. Your presentation was very nice, madam. We appreciate it a lot. Thank you very much for giving the time over here. So again, I'm very much thankful to Honorable Principal Sir, Dr. M. Bedkar Sir, for giving the time here and share some views in front of us. Thank you very much to you, sir. And the participants, Dr. Badiuddin sir, Swanand Shukla sir, Dr. K.N. Kadam sir, Javeer Singh sir, and Sonali Kadam madam also shared some views, asked some questions to the madam. Madam have nicely answered it. So I am very thankful to you also. And lastly, I should not forget some of the colleagues from my college, Dr. Kale sir, जो कि ICOC coordinator, Dr. K.N. Kadam sir, Praveen Utge sir, and others, my colleagues. So I am very thankful to you and everyone, those who are regularly joined to the series and participants without missing this time. So I am very thankful to you. And I request all the participants please to fill the feedback link which is given in the chat box. Now today's session is over. I declare with the permission of Honorable Principal Sir. Thank you very much, my madam. Again, we see you with new topic to you. Thank you very much.
With pleasure to accept you all. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.